My name is Yvonne. I was nearly dead in 1994. Many of my pals died by 18. It seemed like the good times had ended when friends died from drug overdoses or bridge jumps. Traumatic deaths. I wanted to change my life. A friend's parents were born-again Christians. Someone called my name when I returned home from partying with my girlfriend the night before, hungover. I looked up and saw my girlfriend's parents inviting me to their flat to discuss. Inside their flat, they worried their daughter was going crazy. Ironically, I was with her the night before using drugs. However, they asked me to church the next day and talked of a consoling and embracing God. I wanted that comfort. I wanted change after all the deaths, so I was ready. An amazing thing happened. I changed completely. All drug addiction and alcohol craving deserted the church. During his time in Europe, my lover, who subsequently became my husband, partied hard. It took time, but he joined the church. We got married, had 2 kids, and were active. We joined a new church and became devout. Later, we became church elders. As European relatives were coming for Christmas, we took our 13-month-old and 3-year-old to Florida for 2 wonderful weeks. The travel home was terrible. It rained all night. While my mother-in-law drove, we napped at a rest stop. After regaining my energy, I drove us home. After checking my blind spot, signaling, and moving over to pass a tractor trailer on I-95, I saw oncoming cars in my lane. I screamed and spun the car, but lost control. The front page news reported that I was doing 20 kilometers per hour when the automobiles collided. I was trapped inside our overturned car as paramedics rescued us. My mother-in-law and children were taken from the automobile, but I was cut out with the jaws of life. As I waited, my consciousness faded and my breathing shallowed. Last thing I remember, one paramedic asked, "Do you want me to go work on the other car?" His response, "No, she's Doe," was thinking, Doe, what's dead? I understood dead on arrival. Wow, she died. Finished? I'm leaving when the curtains fall. This vehicle collision will kill me. My confidence in God was strong then. People believe many near-death stories are false. My situation ruined my faith. While waiting to die in the car, I wondered, how do you prepare? Okay, I'll recall my first memory. I was trying to encourage it. I thought, it'll be fine. Into heaven I go. Angels rejoice, and I'll meet God. This will be wonderful. Voice, no, you're not. If there is no God, you'll be buried and eaten by maggots. My mood was dark and desperate. I said, God, if you're real, and if you're there, I sure could use your help right now. Because there are no words to express a near-death experience, it took me a long time to talk about mine. I was filled with blinding white light as my body opened out like a peanut shell. A brilliant hand extended, and the voice said, "Take my hand, and I'll show you heaven." As I raised my hand, I felt like I was pulled out of my body and transformed into a different person engulfed in that light. I wanted to talk but couldn't. It felt like telepathy. We knew. I knew and thought it was God. No body. God was bodiless. When I reached up, I transcended my body. I became part of God, no longer human. He showed me my mistakes and failures. The remorse I felt was considerably stronger than here. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Always receiving unconditional affection felt reassuring and weird. We started ascending and felt like we were floating through a bright light surrounded by gray as in space. I looked down to see myself in the car, traffic, and firefighters. I saw the woman whose car I hit flip over and die. She flipped in the car. At that time, God said, "Don't look at that." It wasn't in words, but not as strong as that knowing emotion. I kept looking up, and we passed through this area, then stopped. In Isaiah 6 reads, "I saw the Lord, he was high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple." I'd compare it to that. From his train or robe came a picture of my spouse at the moment, and I recognized him. I replied, "My husband is that, and I'm Lorraine, the kids and the accident." Realizing what happened hit me. Meanwhile, God asked, tired, "Want to return home?" I was shocked to have a choice and unprepared. Though the love was amazing, I felt like more needed to be done. I said, "I don't think I'm ready," and received unconditional love again. We said, "Okay," and descended. God's last words were like a strong hold on my hand, and an audible voice saying, "Don't let go of my hand. Here I am." I clutched onto the hand, and as I returned to my body, it made a loud whooshing sound, and my eyes burst. I felt excruciating popping in my eyes and looked around to see my shirt off, a large collar on my neck, and paramedics bandaging on my chest, saying, "We got her. She's with us. Stay with us." They planned to cut me out of the automobile after I died. When I returned to my body, the vehicle roof was off, my leg was caught, and everything was on. The bone was through my leg. They lifted the roof, sliced it, and used the jaws of life to rescue me from the car. I was taken from the car to the trauma center by an air ambulance. I recall hearing bells and whistles at the IQ trauma unit. "What's that noise, lady? Bell noises. What's up?" "People were dying around me," she said. "I remember being desperate to live." I think my kids were 12 months and 3 years old. Being with my kids was my priority. I returned, and last week I underwent my 56th surgery to repair myself. Through the whole ordeal, I've learned that God is real, and that my marriage fell apart after all my strenuous attempts. It was stressful. I didn't walk for 2 years. I used crutches, canes, and had my right face reconstructed. I fractured my femur 54 times, lost my teeth, destroyed my pelvis, and had tendons holding my ankle. I think it happened to show me how real, powerful, and loving God is. I'm a different person today, but God doesn't change my faith. God remains real to me. I look forward to seeing him again.